Located all over the former Soviet Union are these structures, endless rows of grey concrete rectangles. You've probably seen one before, even if you didn't know its name. It's called a Khrushchyovka, the mass-produced apartment block that defined an empire. Why did an entire superpower decide to live in copy and paste concrete boxes? The answer lies in a mix of desperation, ideology, and control. After World War II, the Soviet Union was in ruins. Entire cities had been bombed flat, and millions were dead or displaced. Stalin's monuments to power gave way to something far more urgent: survival. The country needed homes, and fast. Steel and skilled labour were scarce, so the government turned to the cheapest solution possible: concrete, repetition, and speed. Architecture stopped being an art, it became an emergency response. And so came the Khrushchyovka, named after Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev, who promised a home for every family. These were prefabricated apartment blocks made of hollow concrete panels, assembled like Lego on an industrial scale. No ornaments or decoration, just raw efficiency. Factories churned out identical sections, and entire neighbourhoods could rise in weeks. It was cheap, fast, and uniform, the perfect symbol of a system built on equality and control. In the Soviet Union, even architecture had an ideology. These buildings weren't just homes, they were statements. No family was supposed to have more than the next. And so every window, every hallway, every square metre screamed equality through uniformity. Individual design was seen as selfish, beauty was bourgeois, and in the USSR, luxury was the enemy. On paper, this was sold as progress. Newspapers printed illustrations of construction and growth. State TV praised the dignity of modest housing, but the gulf between propaganda and reality widened fast. Behind the cameras were leaking roofs, thin walls, and stairwells that echoed like empty drums. The government promised unity, what people got was monotony dressed as ideology. Across the Soviet Union, new factories weren't making cars, they were making homes. Concrete walls, staircases, and even bathrooms were poured and cured on conveyor belts. Trains carried those slabs across the country, where cranes stacked them like dominoes. Blueprints became assembly manuals. Cities stopped being built, they were manufactured. Every city used the same blueprints. A Khrushchyovka in Minsk looked identical to one in Vladivostok. Same angles, the same stairwells, the same 5 floors. Never 4, never 6. It didn't matter if you lived in Europe or Asia, the view from your window was the same grey rectangle. To the Soviets, concrete wasn't just practical, it was symbolic. These blocks represented strength, discipline, and endurance. While the West reached for the sky with glass and steel, the East stayed grounded in stone and order. America built skyscrapers that reflected light. The USSR built fortresses that absorbed it. One side wanted transparency, the other wanted control. Every skyline became a battlefield of ideology. When the Soviet Union collapsed, its concrete dreams began to rot. Paint peeled, metal rusted, and elevators died. And the utopia turned into a graveyard of ideals. What were once symbols of progress became reminders of control. Millions still call these cracked walls home. The empire that built them is gone, but its concrete remains. And even today, Russian developers can't fully escape the past. New apartment blocks rise taller and cleaner, but the silhouette is familiar. Rectangular, repetitive, and safe. It's the same idea dressed in modern colours. The empire crumbled, but its blueprint survived. If you really want to understand the Soviet Union, don't read a manifesto. Look at its buildings. Concrete doesn't lie. It shows the ideology of efficiency, the ambition of a superpower, and the cracks that eventually tore it apart. A horizon of identical blocks stretching into the distance, a reminder that even dreams can be mass-produced.